I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone.
My coach, Kendall Flickner, I used to work with Kendall. He said, get small wins. So you might not start off with a $2 billion company, but you have $2 billion concepts. You might have to start off with a smaller company. You have to start off with a company such as yours, like y'all trying to get off the ground right now. So I might say, okay, I want to be a manager. I want to be a whatever. I would come to you and say, listen, I'm going to do this work for you and take your podcast and help you become here with it. You know what I'm saying? And help you grow it. Then I can say, look what I did. When I first started out, people weren't paying me for my ideas. But I can go back and say, I can tell that story. Go get Henry Louis Gates. I can use his name. I can use his program because I came with that information and nobody can take it from me. I don't have to exaggerate it, blow it up. And I've worked with many institutions that I can, City of Boston, Boston Police, Boston Public Schools, Boston College, MIT. I taught at Tufts University. I wasn't getting paid millions and millions of dollars, but I'm building a resume. Nobody gets paid for college in theory. You go AAU ball, they don't pay you. You play college ball, they don't pay you. You don't get paid to get, and that's your resume for when you get to the league.
Got to put that sweat equity in.
So you have to go, if you have you believe you have the concepts and the insights and the structure and the systems and the mindset, then you have to go find some places that you can prove that your systems work. So the state of South Carolina just hired me and extended my contract. I've been there for 2 years. They extended it for another year. Not because I got good story, my shit works.
And yeah, this is for Academy of Hope, correct?
Academy of Hope just got extended. It's my 3rd year in South Carolina.
Can we speak just a little bit more about Academy of Hope for the people? Because man, that's a dope program. Like I love everything you're doing right now, man. It's like you really helping transform not only like businesses. I guess even before going into that, I do have a question for you. So do you feel like the knowledge and skill set, your unique skill set from your background play into the reason that some of your solutions and systems work for like these billion-dollar corporations?
This is where I got my solution system from. I'm in solitary confinement. Now, I believe if you're good at creating plans, you're good at creating plans. If I was a musician, I learned how to play trumpet in jail. I was just gifted. I just didn't figure it out till I got to jail. So it's not where you learn it, it's that you learn it. So I'm in prison. I'm in solitary confinement, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the basement. There was a guy next door to me named Junior Chung. Junior Chung was on a double life sentence. He was heavily medicated because he had like emotional outbursts, like he'd hurt people. So he was by law mandated to take medicine, and if he didn't take it, they'd force medicate him. He had to take his meds to keep him calm. And I'm sitting next door to Junior, and I'm in the cell 24 hours a day with nothing. I get a newspaper. First, I read the paper, I read the sports, then read the Bang News. I got to the point I read the whole paper 5 times. Then I started going through the paper and said, okay, because I'm down here for the next 2.5 years. I'm not going anywhere. I got to the point where I would read the newspaper and I'd see a problem. Such and such in the south side of Boston is messed up, or this is messed up. I said, well, how would I solve that? I just took the newspaper, which I might have for 3 weeks at a time, because that's all I would get. I get hold of a newspaper, and I got to the point I started solving the problems in the newspaper. And I'd solve the problem, then I'd run it by Junior Chung. Now, when I could explain it to Junior, and he could understand it and have a conversation with me and articulate it back, I knew I had a winner. Stop trying to run your problems by smart people. They're going to get it instantly. If you run the problem, I get it. I do deep thinking, so I can fill in the blanks. I got a dude who's on psych meds. When he can get it, I got a winner.
That's powerful, though.
So I started running Junior would talk as long as he was lucid, and I'd run my stuff by him. And if he got stuck on something, then I'd change it until he could just get it. And I knew I had a winner. And I decided that's how I spend most of my time talking to Junior. And he would just, yeah. We go deep on the subject matter, but I started with the newspaper, solving problems in the newspaper around the city.
Started where you at with what you had.
That's all I had. I might get a newspaper, might have it for 3 weeks before I get the next one.
And I think this is a great segue for going in, because we're talking about Academy of Hope, just going into with what you're doing with prison reform and the way that you looked at that problem. How did you look at, okay, this is the problem and this is the way that we solve this problem?
Prison reform comes back to how do you, again, there's two things. How people got to jail, which is distinctly another discussion. Then there's people who are in jail that needs help on how to not come back. So I'm focusing in right now, most people can't separate the two. They get stuck, they merge them and they'll never get anywhere. Because it's like church. I work with churches. There's saving souls and there's making money. Got to separate the conversations. When you merge them, it goes back. So in prison, there's why they came, then it's helping them go home better. So when I get into helping them go home better part, I'm not dealing with the why they came. So let's help them go home better. Is step one, separating the emotional part from the technical part. And then having sat in these cells, I know what it's like to be in prison. I know what it's like to be left out, to be feeling less than. I know all the emotions that go with being in prison. And if I ask you, what do you think the most important part of the day is in prison? The most emotionally draining and the most important part of the day is?
Going on the yard.
Going on, that's yours. I got 3 more coming.
Mine would probably be like whenever they lock the cells, whenever you can't.
I see one more person. I got 2 out of 3. Come on.
I guess would be the morning, just waking up and just being like, damn, I'm still here.
The most depressing or emotional part of the day is mail call. When that man, the CO comes down the hallway and he comes on every range who has a whole basket full of mail. When he walks by your cell and he does not stop, what that says is nobody in the world is thinking about you today.
Damn.
You don't matter. To the world, you don't matter. And you're sitting in your cell. I don't care if you got a big TV, small TV, 100 pairs of sneakers, knives, guns, and the rest. He just walked by you, and him not stopping signifies that the world says you don't matter. And that hurts. And that's 6 days a week. You keep getting punched in the stomach saying the world says you don't matter. Yeah, you tough in here, Mom. You tough guy in here, but nobody in the world cares about you enough to sit down and send you a letter, a card, anything. And it's emotionally hurtful to have him walk by and not stop. And sometimes he'll walk by and pause, and he know he ain't got no damn mail. He'll look up, not my fault, keep going.
Oh,
damn,
man.
that's some whole shit.
You just want to just choke him. But you can't because it's you. So whoever you think you've made yourself into, you're not. The world said that you don't matter.
Damn.
And that hurts. So when I design my programs, it's based on real life. I'm gonna make sure that we account for that 4 o'clock mail call hurt that you got to deal with. We got to offset that. Then we got to deal with the locking down, safety on the yard. But there's some real psychological issues that impact people that unless you've been back there, you won't even understand. So
Can you speak to a little bit more of those that we wouldn't understand? I know you said one of them is mail call, and I'm just asking because we might have a listener who might be going through a situation and they somehow listening to this podcast from in jail.
Well, they can't write themselves a letter. That don't work. So if you have a loved one in jail, wearing the technology, mail was huge in the 80s and 90s before internet. Now everybody emails and texts and Zooms and whatever they do. So there's probably even less mail coming inside now. Because it's such a thing. Everybody wrote letters of some sort or some fashion, your bills. You got to go mail your check in for the light bill, mail the thing for the cable. Now everything's right here. Everything's right here. So who buys stamps anymore?
Not really nobody.
They always ask me at the post office, be like, what I need that for?
Exactly. So people in jail, you have to actually buy stamps, buy envelopes, and then mail it in.
Damn.
That's a lot. Where it was a daily part of your occurrence back in the days, it was just part of the day. You went to the mailbox a couple of times a week. Now, nobody goes to the mailbox. Only thing comes to the mailbox is circulars.
Yeah. Or like important
documents. Once a week by accident. I go to my mailbox on trash day.
I was just about to say that too.
To throw stuff away. I go out there, I put the trash out, I go in the mailbox, and 80% of what's in my mailbox goes right in the trash can.
Damn.
Half of it ain't nothing important anyway. You're right. Shit.
So if you have a loved one in jail and you try to encourage and inspire them to do and be better, those letters matter. Those letters are, I used to get letters. I put it on my bed. I look at it. I look at the stamp. I mean, you're in your cell. It's like an ordeal, man. It's like, yo, somebody, and it wasn't just rip it open and read it. It was like, you had to appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like this whole big thing. It's like Christmas time. And you think you got the gift that you want. You just want to look at it first. And that's serious. So there's that. Then there's holidays. Then there's people's birthdays. I'm saying there's things that are happening in the world that you can't be a part of. I got nieces and nephews. I'm not an uncle. I'm the guy in the picture on the wall.
Mm.
So when I talk to my nieces and nephews, I have no validity in my conversation because I'm not there. I haven't been there since they've been born. So dealing with that, the loss, I'm saying the not being able to be there, you have to tell yourself, well, they're better off without me. And that's a whole psychological trip you're taking yourself on it. This is not good. It's not healthy. So the things that happen in the average person in jail lives in fear. There's only so many bosses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you say. There's only so many bosses, and whoever's not a boss or a top soldier is living in fear of those people. So every day you wake up, are they going to rob me? Are they going to rape me? Are they going to beat me? Are they going to bully me? Are they going to take my stuff? To live like that for 10 years is hurtful and damaging. For 10 years, okay, you're not a boss, you're not in the gang, but the gang might rob you, rape you, beat you, stomp you, whatever. So every day you're wondering, is today my day? Is today my day? Is today my day? That's a tough way to do 10 years. Wondering, is today your day? That does something to your psyche, to your spirit, to your person. And when you do, nothing happens to you per se. You get out, but you lived under extreme stress and fear for 10 years.
Now that's ingrained into you.
Yeah, now you're trying to bounce back. But for 10 years, you woke up every day scared for your life and for your safety.
And now, and on top of that, when you come back, the world completely different.
And now you're living in fear
When
then.
you walk out, everybody says, oh my God, you survived 10 years in the max. You're the man. You're not going to tell them, no, I was scared to death for 10 years. Nobody's going to tell them that. Oh, I'm one of the guys who got raped for 10 years. I'm one of the guys who got bullied for 10 years. Everybody walks out with this blanket of you're a tough guy now because you did 10 years in prison. And that's not the truth. It's not. 90% of people live in fear. 90.
Right.
Whether something's going to happen to you or you're going to get set on a mission where you get stuck back there for extra time.
Shit.
So understanding the psychological triggers and damage that happen is important when you design a program.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just you design it, here's something that looks good on paper. How does it fly in the life of the person that you're trying to impact? So when I go into prisons, I understand the person's emotional status and status and where they are and could be and design stuff based on those factors and help them move forward. That's what the Academy of Hope is about, speaking to men like men and in real time. We had a gentleman in one of our programs, we're in the group, and he's a tough dude. He didn't beat up too many people to count. And that's why I recruited him for the program. And he was explaining why he needed to beat people up. And it was based on his father told him, somebody hit you, you hit him back. And you hit him right. I got taught the same thing. And he explained it. He told himself, people respected it because he was a winner. He was nice with these. I turned to him, I said, bro. He said, what's up? I said, your father was wrong. He said, what you say? I said, your father was wrong. Your father was wrong. My father was wrong. Whoever else's father gave that information was wrong. It hasn't worked for you. It didn't work for me. But it made sense to us because of who taught it to us. But they taught us wrong. And we took it to an extreme that was above and beyond necessary. And I told him that his father was wrong, and it was the first time anybody ever told him that. And he saw it, and he realized that I was right. He was like, whoa, it doesn't work for me. It's never worked for me. And technically, it is wrong. And he cried, half the room cried, and we made a shift in that man's life. Because I'm able to sit in there because I sat in his seat 20 years ago where I thought the hitting, you hit me, I'm hitting you back. Man, woman, and child, knocking your block off. That's what my mother told me. If you're man enough to hit me, you man enough to get your hand hit back. Wrong.
That unlearning process.
That is powerful though, because especially in our community, like I just vividly remember my mama telling me that, like, somebody hits you, you bust their ass, and if you don't bust their ass when you get home, I'ma bust your ass.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Damn, you just bust my head, man.
Like it's because with Academy of Hope, like it's like you want to look at it and think like, okay, this is a nonprofit, but no, it's not really just a nonprofit. You really helping these people transform, like through that same process that you went through mentally all those years ago.
I come back. The Academy of Hope is, I show you in real time how to actually apply your information and knowledge and help people, help yourself, help your community, make money. We don't have to, it's all this, you have to be poor stuff. I go to church, I don't see any pastors not driving a Bentley or Benz. They don't subscribe to being poor. Businessmen don't subscribe to being poor. Church leaders don't subscribe to being poor. So why are we subscribing to being poor?
Us as black people, man. I said it one time, I said it a million times. We got to stop associating being black with lack.
Yeah. So for folks who, now, the program Academy of Hope has the capacity to help people change. And I do that, you know what I'm saying? And I help people change. I could be off doing 100 other things and 100 other, I got $2 billion companies like Dre help me. Why? So why am I in prison doing prison work? Because that's our people. And the fact that they know the places, now I bring these people, these billionaires and multimillionaires, I bring them to the prison and they talk to them in real time. Nobody's ever brought billionaires and millionaires to the prison and sit down and talk to people. I'm saying, I do that. I'm saying, I'm like, yo, this is my people. Come on, you got to come meet them. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's somebody else from Akron, Ohio that can play basketball. LeBron wasn't the only one. I'm saying there's somebody else from Lower Merion that can play basketball. Kobe wasn't the only one. There are other great people who are still, I'm saying, messed up because people won't come back. They get out, they get free, and they take off. Come on, you got to come back. You got to come back, man. If you ain't opening the door for somebody else, you ain't shit.
And I think that kind of takes us to the next section I want to talk on, my brother. And that's that networking part that we talked about off camera. And I think that's very, very important. Is like you said, they're not coming back. They're not building these networks. You're bringing these millionaires and billionaires into the prison system and showing them, hey, this is the work that I'm doing. This is the work that actually matters. But I want to speak on, like, how do you nurture these type of relationships to where you can make them comfortable to say, okay, let's go visit this prison. Let's go see what it's like to actually have this type of impact.
I do a whole training. It's called Staying in the Room. So many people can get in the room by whatever means. Staying in the room is a whole other thing. I've watched countless people kicked out of the room because they move wrong. They don't know how to move correctly. They get in the room, they make bad mistakes, they get put out. So you have to get in the room and then stay in the room. Like right now, Kyrie Irving's on the verge of getting put out of the room.
That's a fact.
Dennis Rodman, 3-time NBA champion in a row, got put out of the room. How you go from 3 back-to-back, 3 titles in a row and you can't get a job? Nowhere. Carmelo got put out of the room. Telling me Carmelo's not even in the top 300 players in the NBA a year and a half ago? He got in a room, didn't mesh with the people, they put his ass out the room. Then he had to go humble up and come back. Love Carmelo, love Dennis Rodman, love AI, but they all got put out of the room because they didn't know how to move. When your talent doesn't oversee your problems, they'll put you out. So my thing is, when you meet people, whether they're millionaires, billionaires, or regular folks, you have to establish trust first. Don't always think business, 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 business. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's doing business with a stranger. you have to establish trust. Because if I'm this multi-millionaire, why am I taking a chance on you? So you need to come in and in the time and the spaces that we're together, establish that you're a trustworthy person. And remember this, life gives to the giver, not the ass kisser.
Mm. Hold on, my brother.
Message.
Life gives to the giver, not the ass kisser.
Mm.
Give sincerity, give from your heart, give and mean it. And everybody's always looking at you. And when you pop up, and they're gonna say, okay, well, why should I rock with you? So would you want me to mentor you? I do business across 7 countries and 7 states and whatever. Would you want me to mentor you? Say, yeah. And I had a situation in Charlotte. I spoke at a high school, all these kids in the auditorium, black kids, and one kid came out the stands. He just ran out the stands crying. You are me. My life and your life is exactly my mom, dad, sister, brother, exact word for word. He said, you have to mentor me. God sent you here to mentor me. You're it. I will do whatever you say. I said, okay, I got one question. I said, what? He said, what? So you're a senior? He said, yeah. I said, who are you mentoring? He said, what do you mean? So I'm not mentoring anybody. I said, it's juniors, freshmen, and sophomores, and you're not helping none of these kids mentoring? He said, no. I said, then get out my face.
Mm.
You can't tell me, but dude, if you ain't helping nobody, don't ask me to help you.
Mm.
But I'm kick rocks, because you're already telling me it's about you. Your lifestyle is telling me it's only about you. So whatever I do for you is gonna stay with you. You ain't trying to pass it on. You're gonna be one of them dudes who make it and forget about everybody. Because there's people here right now that you can help in your capacity right now, and you're not.
I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone.